The biggest mistake I see people make when they decide to go back to school online is enrolling on day one. I get it, it feels productive, you're excited, you want to get started, but if you enroll too early, you end up paying full tuition while you're still stuck taking some of the basic classes you could have knocked out for a fraction of the cost somewhere else. I'm going to show you exactly how much I spent using study.com versus how much I would have spent doing the traditional college route because the gap is bigger than you think. My entire bachelor's degree, start to finish, cost me under $6,000. Today, I'm breaking down the exact math, the exact order I did things in, so you can copy the sequence step by step. For anyone new to this channel, study.com is an alternative credit provider that lets you knock out college credits at your own pace. They charge a monthly subscription, and then you transfer those credits into the online college of your choice. Let's say, WGU, SNHU, and people prefer doing classes on these platforms because it's a lot cheaper. You can knock out a lot more classes compared to doing them at the college where it's a lot more expensive. So you're knocking out classes for a monthly subscription instead of doing them all at your online college where, again, it's going to be more expensive. I want to start by discussing a trap that almost everyone falls into. I fell for a version of it. You get excited about going back to school, you call an advisor, and within a week, you're enrolled and paying full price. The problem is that most bachelor's programs front load a bunch of general education classes, English composition, basic math, intro level electives, the stuff that has nothing to do with your actual major. If you're paying a flat term rate like WGU charges, you're paying that same rate whether you're grinding through gen eds, general education classes, or working on upper level courses that you actually need for your field. So before I ever picked up the phone to talk to an advisor, I pulled up the official transfer page for WGU for my certain major and mapped it out, exactly course by course, which requirements I could complete for cheaper on study.com. And mapping that transfer pathway before enrolling is what let me finish my finance degree at WGU so quickly at 19. Once I had that transfer map, I used study.com to knock out as many of those match courses as possible before I ever even enrolled at WGU. Study.com breaks everything into short micro lessons instead of sitting through a 16-week traditional semester. I could work through the material in chunks that actually fit around my job schedule. My pace ended up being roughly 3 to 5 courses a month, and here's why that pace mattered so much. Study.com charges by the month, not by the credit. So the faster I moved, the fewer months I paid for, and the lower my cost per course actually became. Study.com has two pricing tiers. You have the College Saver. This is for lower level classes. Most of your gen eds will be done through this plan. It is $95 a month. And then you have the College Saver Pro for $235 a month. This is for the upper level, more specialized classes for your major. Compare that pricing to a traditional university semester bill. The savings is insane, and you can go out completely at your own pace. You can knock out as many classes as you can in that month. The savings are just crazy. That's the entire strategy in one sentence. Go fast on the affordable self-paced platform and save your expensive per term tuition dollars for the classes that you're actually required to take at your degree granting university. It sounds simple because it is. The hard part is just doing the transfer guide homework first instead of, enrolling blind and taking a bunch of classes that you don't need. Now let's get into the actual numbers because, this is the part everyone really wants. On study.com, between the monthly subscription and the pace that I kept, I spent somewhere between, $600 to $1,000 total, and that covered a majority of the gen eds I needed and some of those upper level classes I could transfer in. Then once I transferred into WGU, because of its flat rate term instead of per credit tuition, I paid roughly $3,800 to complete a single term and finish out the rest of my degree requirements. Add those two numbers together, and my entire bachelor's degree in finance came out to under $6,000 total from start to finish. Now compare that to the average cost of a 4-year degree at a traditional university, which typically runs well over $36,000 and can climb past $100,000, depending on whether you're paying out of state or private tuition. This means that exact sequence I told you saved me more than $30,000 compared to the traditional route. Not through scholarships, not through loans, just through the order I enrolled in things. And if you're wondering whether this actually holds up credit for credit, it does. Every single course I took on study.com was checked against the official WGU Transfer Pathway Agreement before I ever paid for it. Study.com also has its own great features like the course collection feature, which show you the general education classes to take for most of these degrees. I wasn't guessing, and I wasn't hoping a credit would transfer in after the fact. I matched the course code, confirmed the credit hours, and only then enrolled. And that's the difference between this working and, wasting your money on a class that doesn't count towards anything. And overall, it all worked great for me. Like I said, I got my bachelor's degree in finance at 19, shortly after I got a job as a banker at JP Morgan Chase. Very entry level, but again, I had no debt. I was 19. I was starting to build my experience at 19, which I think is great. And overall, it was a great, affordable path for me. If this broke down something you didn't know, drop a comment and let me know what program you're looking at, and follow Degree Hacked so you don't miss the next breakdown. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.